I'm here to review a film that I feel like needs to have a little bit more said about it than simply it's bad, because it's a fairly complicated matter. The film in question is Hardcore Henry. Now, for those of you who don't know what this film is, I don't really have any skills with fancy cutting yet. I'm using iMovie, but it would basically the premise is that it's the first movie ever shot entirely in first person. So imagine a first person shooter game and now that as a movie. And that might seem a bit reductive to those of you who might be fans of it, or for those of you who may have seen it. But as it was advertised, I think that was really what people were taking away from it. Now, I saw it yesterday on a whim, and while I wouldn't call it a great movie, I would also say that it is a film where I felt something when I was watching it. There was a palpable kind of excitement. There was, while there wasn't like pathos for the character, the lead character of Henry, there was a motivation, which can, there aren't a lot of films that can be said for of this sort of genre. Um, so I guess what I want to say is that this is a movie that already isn't doing very well at the box office, and I don't know if anybody really needs to run and kind of go like, "Hey, there's something here." But if you have a passing interest in seeing this movie, I would say that it might be worth your time. And why I say that is because when watching this film, I had moments where I was on the edge of my seat, and I wasn't expecting that. When I walked in kind of knowing that I was walking into a movie by myself, that 50-50 was going to either be good or bad. And I'd already seen the review by the fabulous Red Letter Media, and I thought, might as well give it a go. And this is a movie that has a very simple premise. Main character, but at the same time is very fleet in establishing that, which is not something that can be said for a lot of films nowadays. I think that there are movies that have fantastic act ones, and then they have really, really flat act twos. And this is a film that can't be classified as inconsistent. If anything, it's too consistent. From the moment it starts, it kind of doesn't stop. It's a bit of a violent shit show, but it does. The reason I wanted to see it was because I was curious of what it would feel like to be in a movie theater with this first person perspective. And the thought that was running through my head the entire time was that what I'm probably watching right now is one of the future possibilities of entertainment. Like, this is a movie that will probably benefit from having one of those new VR helmets. This is a movie that would benefit definitely being seen on a large scale format. This is a movie that would benefit some kind of gyroscopic, almost theme park attraction ride level of sort of shaking your chair. But that means that it's not valueless. And so I would say to anybody who is interested in seeing this film that you probably should before it leaves theaters. It's definitely worth your time if you're interested in action movies or schlock or things that are sort of this sensory overload. It's definitely big into violence. So if you're squeamish about digital blood or people being set on fire, probably leave this one alone. But if you're somebody that thinks that's pretty cool, you could do a lot worse than this. I think that there are movies that are out right now, Batman versus Superman, where people look at the violence in that and they say it's kind of unnecessary. It's not really the movie that you want to have be that violent. But a film like Hardcore Henry, which is rated R, it takes advantage of being rated R, which is something that a lot of movies don't do these days. It's profane in kind of all the right ways. And so if you have an interest in seeing this, um, be it passing, I think it's worth your time. So, friends and anyone out there who's watching, uh, that's what I would tell you. Is it two thumbs up? No. It's certainly it's no Drive. It's no Blade Runner. It's got a very cyberpunk premise, but it's not going to ring any bells there. But the entire time watching it, I felt like I think I'm watching something that is going to be looked at one day as having changed movies in some way. And if that interests you, then I think it's worth your time. Thank you.